Okay, y'all. So y'all know what tonight is.
Hello.
Yes, it is Tuesday. So
Yes,
tonight, I told y'all that I want to start bringing people to give y'all some education. So tonight, I got Miss T.K. Barlow, and we
yes,
ain't giving y'all know that she giving y'all just gems. Anything additional, you need to contact her. But we're gonna talk about basic bookkeeping because a lot
yes.
of y'all entrepreneurs keep asking this question: where, how, when, what do I need to do?
Right.
I'm not a bookkeeper, so I don't know, but I
Yep.
got people here. So TK, introduce yourself to them.
Yes, I am TK Barlow. I'm the owner, the founder of the Barlow Group Tax and Accounting Firm. Many, many moons ago, I had a business and it was actually in daycare. And I went to my tax preparer and I was like, hey, can you do my business taxes? And I had no clue of what I was really supposed to be doing as far as like my bookkeeping, my business taxes. And I felt kind of embarrassed to tell this tax preparer that I knew basically nothing. And so I didn't communicate with that with her. I didn't ask any questions. And I ended up owing that year. And so from that experience, I kind of was like, I really want to be a resource for other business entrepreneurs and those who really don't know anything about accounting or bookkeeping or how to conduct their taxes and their bookkeeping. So from there is where the Barlow Group was actually born.
So TK, give us the spiel. So with the whole bookkeeping, what do
Mm-hmm.
you recommend for the small business owners that are just starting out, like if they in year 1 and 2, and do
Okay.
you recommend that they get, started with somebody controlling their books from the beginning, or waiting until they get, because I know for myself, I didn't expect myself to grow. And I know I told you about it last year. I had somebody do my tax. They jacked me all up. I end up owing. I did a form C, and I didn't have like a wealth of knowledge of. And I'm thinking I could do the bookkeeping myself, but we start leaving out stuff, and then later at the end of the year, you're running all around.
Right.
What is something that you encourage us as new entrepreneurs? Like, what should we be doing? Should we start like getting us somebody to do our bookkeeping?
So a lot of people ask that question when they're first starting a business. They're like, okay, well, when should I start my bookkeeping? And you really need to start keeping your books the first day you open your business. The first transaction that you make within your company is the day that you actually need to start bookkeeping. Now, when do you need to hire a bookkeeper? You need to hire someone as soon as your budget allows you to. But also be mindful of this, because what we do as entrepreneurs, we feel like, okay, I'm going to do my own books. I'm starting off and I don't have a lot of money yet. I'm going to do my own books. And that's fine if you want to do them using a spreadsheet, as long as you are calculating all of your expenses and all of your income. So if you do that starting off, that's totally fine. But you don't want to stay there using the spreadsheet. You want to eventually upgrade, because this is what's going to happen. You're going to start your business off using the spreadsheets. As soon as you get busy and as soon as your business picks up momentum, you're going to look at that spreadsheet less and less. So if you're going to start off, doing it the DIY in it, doing it yourself kind of method, just be mindful that when your business picks up, you definitely want to hand that off to someone else. Because if you're not able to automate, you want to delegate. So that's going to be one of those tasks as a business owner that you would want to definitely delegate that to someone else, like a bookkeeper or an accountant or a CPA, someone to just totally take that over, because you're not going into business to do the financial side of your business. You are focused on the product and the services that you are offering to others. So that's going to be one thing that you do want to eventually delegate to someone else as you grow.
So wait, what do you think about A lot of people go into business, and we started as small business owners, and we have so many ideas. So
Right.
like me, I'm a consultant. What is the whole spiel? Because you get people that say, okay, the S corp, the DBAs, you need to be doing this. Like, what it is like? What if you somebody that have a lot of ideas, and you like, okay, I want to have this under my umbrella, I want to have that under my umbrella. What do you recommend? Do you recommend them, once they, because you hear once you get that 45,000, you should be a S corp. What's your logistics of what people should be really
Mhm.
doing with the whole DBA thing and different things? And I hear so many different, things.
Right.
And
First of all, as business owners, we have to be very responsible of our business first. And then secondly, you cannot listen to every TikTok and Instagram, Facebook influencer because again, they are influencers and that's how they're making their money. So if they're not like a legitimate um professional that's in this industry, then you need to like try to do your own homework to double check it. But there is a lot of things going around about becoming an S corp as soon as you hit the 45 mark. That's fine, but what it is, you want to have at least 45,000 in your accounts after all of your expenses are paid. So after your deductions, your expenses and everything, if you have $45,000, then yes, it is time for you to consider being an S corp. Do you want to run out there and immediately be an S corp without doing homework? No, but that is something that you want to start to consider around that $45,000 mark. And again, you also want to make sure that you have a good bookkeeping system in place when you are transferring over to an S corp. Because again, the things that the IRS, when they look at your activity to determine if you are indeed if your activity is really a business or if it's just a hobby, they look at the fact if you have good record keeping methods in your business, meaning if you have bookkeeping in your business or not, and if you are doing it correctly. So that's one thing that's very, very, very important. When you change over to an S corp, you have to have a bookkeeping system in place because you have to monitor how much you're taking out of your account as far as your salary. Like everything has to be on record. So if you're going to change over to an S corp, it's a good idea if you are around that $45,000 mark in profit. Then yes, it's definitely time for you to consider changing to an S corp. But again, that bookkeeping has to be in place. Like we cannot continue to overlook bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is like the number one essential tool that entrepreneurs need in their business, but it's like the most, thing that is looked over. For some reason we think we'll get it when we get it. But when you need bookkeeping, like when you actually need it, it's probably not going to be the most happiest time because if someone has to go back on your books for years, it's going to be costly. And you don't want to be in a predicament where you have to like show books or show your records and you don't have them. That's going to not be okay.
see, and I think that that's where, as entrepreneurs, we don't see that part, because you get a lot of people like, oh, you should be paying yourself, and but my whole thing is, what if you spending out all of the expenses back into the business? Like, how can you pay yourself? Like, and a lot of people like, you need to be paying yourself, you should be paying, but if you bringing it in and it's going right back out. So it's like, it's like a catch 22. And I'm glad you said that, like 45K in after the expenses. A lot of people don't know that. They just hear
Right.
45,000. Let me go. Let me go get this S corp. And do you recommend having a professional to do it, or a person
Yes.
doing the S corp themselves?
I mean, if you're very knowledgeable of how it works, then sure. But if you have questions about it, then I don't recommend you do it yourself. I do recommend that you reach out to someone who is familiar with preparing that form for you. And again, because we're talking about you got to have the 45,000 after expense. Yeah, because it has to make sense in your business. If it's not going to make sense, what's going to happen is you're going to be paying too much into all of the additional expenses that come along with it. And regarding paying yourself, that's something else that we get messed up on a lot when we don't have the correct information. You have to have the correct business entity to pay yourself. When we are paying ourselves and we have just an LLC or a sole proprietor entity set up, and we're paying ourselves on payroll, you can pay yourself, yes. You do need to get in a habit of paying yourself, even if your income and your expenses are really close and you feel like, okay, well, I don't have it right now to be able to pay myself in my business. You do need to set up a type of budget to be able to take a deeper look, because you want to get in a habit of paying yourself something. It doesn't have to be, a large amount, but you definitely want to get in a just to get in a habit of sending yourself something to your personal account. Now, with being able to pay yourself on a payroll, that's not okay. When you are an LLC or a single member proprietorship, you cannot pay yourself payroll, because what's happening is you're getting double taxed. You're getting taxed as the employer and you're getting taxed as the employee. So we need to get that out there, and because you don't want to be double taxed, right? So yeah, don't do that. Just pay yourself distributions, meaning that you're able to just simply take cash from your business account, send it to yourself, or you can write yourself a check from your business account and issue it out to yourself. But you don't want to have yourself on payroll. You can have employees on payroll, yes, but you don't want to have yourself on payroll, because you're not able to work as an employee within your business when you are a sole proprietor or a single member LLC. You're being double taxed.
Wow. So and I hear a lot of people say that they're paying themselves, like they're going through like all of these different ADP and and they're paying themselves and they have just LLCs. So
Yeah.
that is
Mhm.
definitely. And Miss Fonda asks, what is the best bookkeeping app or website for a company if I have three companies?
Three different companies.
She said,
Y'all,
what's
we had this conversation already. I already told Miss Fonda that I like QuickBooks. So I like QuickBooks because, especially with the app, because you're able to just simply download the app to your phone and you can switch through to different well, for me I can, but if you have three different businesses, they're not going to be all together, I'm assuming, Miss Fonda. So with the QuickBooks app, you're able to just switch over to what business that you want to look at. I
she
like
said,
QuickBooks.
what if she said, what about other than QuickBooks?
There's FreshBooks, but I'm not familiar with those. And there's also Wave. That's another one, but I haven't used those myself. I only use QuickBooks within my firm.
Okay. Then
Mhm.
she asked, payroll should be in the LLC partnership or the S corp.
Yes, if you have a partnership, payroll is fine. A LLC single member should not do payroll for themselves.
Mm.
You can take a distribution, and then within a partnership, so you're able to take out shares and distributions. If you are trying to do like payroll as far as like ADP or Gusto, those you don't want to mess with. Not for yourself, because you have when you get, like, someone asked me recently, are they able to do a payroll for their employee and for themselves? No, because you are going to be taxed as, the 15.3% that comes out of your check. You're going to be taxed there, and you're going to be taxed as the entrepreneur that has to pay that self-employment tax. And you don't want to do that.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So while we talking about this whole tax bill, I get a lot of people reaching out to me, and I know because you
What's
in this
that?
world. the ERC. I get a lot of people asking. And some of these people, TK, I don't think they should be doing it because
Hmm.
it's a serious game, right?
It is.
Thank you. Because I
Yes.
get a lot of people asking me like, "Well, I can do it, right?" And it is a certain amount of time. It's within a certain time that you had to have employees, right?
Right. For me, guys, again, this goes back to the whole thing with like we are talking about like the S corps and the paying your stuff. You have to know your you have to do your own due diligence when it comes to tax preparing and when it comes to bookkeeping and paying yourself and paying your employees. All of those things are things that are indeed serious and it could cost you your business. And if you're trying to do like underhanded stuff and if you got a question about should I do it or should I not do it, then you probably shouldn't do it.
Right.
So yeah, it's a serious game, and you don't want to put your business, what you have fought so hard to prepare and to get together and have the guts to actually go out and do. You don't want to put that at jeopardy, right? Like we shouldn't be putting our business on the line because you're trying to build something for yourself. You're trying to build something for your children. You're trying to leave a legacy and to do something that's not necessarily compliant. If you have to question it, then don't do it. So that's what I tell people that come to me. And if something is not right or it doesn't seem right, then I'm definitely, the first to say, don't do it. Don't do that to your business.
See,
Mm-mm.
I'm glad you said it because a lot of people been looking at it and they like, well, I did have employees during this time. Well, I was an employee and I was like, well, I don't think that you should be doing it. Well, the
Mm-hmm.
people told me the only thing you got to be is have W-2 employees. So I think that that's where a lot of people get it mixed up. I think that they see it and you got all these ads and it's like, oh, you can get the earn retention credit, you can get this if you have this. And I don't think people really know the logistics behind how much taxes can, hurt your business. You can get in trouble for it, you can owe a
Right.
lot. So I try to tell people like, be mindful of those things. Like don't try to go get somebody to make some documents because those that goes to the IRS, right?
Yes, like how a lot of people try, well, you may not know, but a lot of people try to not report or like under-report income, like if they are a contractor, if they have worked for someone else, and then that business may issue a 1099. And so a person may feel like, okay, well, I'm not going to report this income because it's just a 1099. Like even when you are doing the drive shares, all of those type of jobs, those companies are reporting all your income that you are earning. So those 1099s are actually sent to the IRS as well as you. So you get a copy, the person you work for get a copy, and the IRS gets a copy. And so what happens is throughout the summer, after tax time is over, the IRS is doing an internal audit first. So they're looking for everyone that did not send over their 1099 or did not report their income. So they're doing their own checks and balances as well. And if something doesn't add up, or if you left off any income and you underreported your income, yeah, they're coming after that. They want those taxes off that. So yes, documents do get back to the IRS.
See, and I be that's what I try to tell people. Like, you got to be mindful of the business. You got to be mindful, and it's like educational. And I know a lot of stuff you can find on IRS,
Yes.
website. Is a lot of things that you can find about what you should be doing. But I think
Mhm.
that a lot of people don't want to take the time to read it, and I think it's like you going back to what you said in the beginning. A lot of people look at TikTok, they look at these people that are within these
Right.
social media content creators, and they're telling them that, oh, you can get this, or people that's doing underhanded stuff and want something. And I just think that like as entrepreneurs, we got to put on our big girl panties and we got to put
Yes,
on our big boy boxers and we just
yes,
take it. And I wanted to ask you, so is I hear a lot of people say, "Oh my God, a bookkeeper is it so expensive? I can't afford it." You know your worth. Is
right.
it definitely an investment for these
Okay.
entrepreneurs?
I wrote a list just for you guys because I want you to know, first of all, what bookkeeping can do for your business. So, first, you're going to understand your numbers. With bookkeeping, you're going to understand exactly where your business is standing financially wise. Okay, you're going to know exactly if you're making a profit or if you're making a loss. Then it's going to help you budget because you're going to see clearly of where your money is going. Because I have woke up many days and it's like, wait a minute, I know I made more money than this, but it's because I didn't have a good system in place. So bookkeeping is going to give you a clear understanding of your numbers. You're going to know your profit or loss. You're going to be able to budget better. And let me see what else I got here. It's going to keep you tax time compliant. And that's another thing you mentioned earlier, because you're not going to have to run all over the house looking for receipts. If you have a good bookkeeping system in place, you have already kept these receipts, kept your expenses, you know how much you made throughout the year. So at the end of the year, when you're trying to like figure out, do I have everything? If you have a good bookkeeping system in place, yes, you have everything there. And also, this is something else. As a single member LLC or a sole proprietor, you must know that this type of business entity is the largest entity that is audited. So why?
Mm,
It's because of the Schedule C. I think you mentioned it earlier. It's because of that Schedule C. A lot of people file the Schedule C because most entrepreneurs are single member LLCs, right? So when you're filing that Schedule C, it's really easy for people to put the wrong amounts. Like maybe they put something wrong for their advertising expenses, or maybe they put something wrong for how much income they actually received. So that Schedule C is audited a lot out of all the businesses right under S corps, but the Schedule C is audited. So what bookkeeping does for you is when you have a bookkeeping system set up, the categories match everything that is on the Schedule C. So if you're putting everything in the correct category all year, all your tax preparer has to do is to take your Schedule C, make it and see what it is for your profit and loss, and put those numbers directly on your Schedule C for your tax preparation. So it's much easier when you have a bookkeeping system in place because everything is already there. Like literally, it's already there and calculated. We just have to take your numbers from your bookkeeping and put it directly into your Schedule C form. So it's a lot of benefits of bookkeeping, and the cost of it, it's priceless, literally. Because if you get audited and you don't have bookkeeping, number one, you're probably going to have some fines. Number two, you're going to have to pay somebody to go through however many years you're behind. So it's good to have your bookkeeping as close as possible on day one. Even if you have to do it with the spreadsheets, that's fine. But you definitely need to have some type of bookkeeping system in place because it's kind of like the dentist and doing like preventive care. If you don't go to the dentist for years, when you do go, you're gonna pay, right? So it's
right.
kind of the same thing with your bookkeeping. As long as you're keeping up with it, you're good. But don't get caught with not having bookkeeping. So that may be a little trouble. I think I heard you say you're gonna get caught with your pants down. With
Yeah,
your
that's what happens with these people. I'm telling you, they called me last year with it, and it cost me over 3,000, like 3,500. Like they called
yeah.
me real good. And Miss Fonda said, "Do you have a list of what a small business owner can have ready for when we do file taxes?"
Yes, I can send it over to her. Tell her to inbox me her email address.
She said inbox her, Miss Fonda, your email address. She said she's going to try QuickBooks again. The reason why
Okay.
I don't like QuickBooks is because people always in my services, but I learned last year, people like to
Mhm.
go to get services and then want to go back and try to get their money back.
Oh.
So with QuickBooks, they don't honor us as entrepreneurs. So you just
Mm.
gotta, and I told somebody, I was like, you still could probably use it and just don't use the invoicing services part of it.
Right.
Like, because I think that that's where, a lot of people, and I tell people, like, when people, now we just seen the tax season is stopping. So a lot of people are going to have those issues with people. They don't feel like they don't want to pay for something, or they paid for it then and they need their money back now. So I tell people, like, it's time to get these businesses together. So
Yes.
TK, what are your prices for people? Like
Well,
consultation.
I do have different prices for depending on the need for a business owner, but we do have packages that's to start the Grow With Me package. And that's where we basically, like, if you are an entrepreneur and you just started your business and you may not have the budget right now for everything that you need, we give you the basics of the tracking your income and your tax deductions, the basis that's going to keep you organized and compliant at the same time. So we have a package like that, and it grows with you. So as your income gets a little bit bigger, then we can readjust it quarterly. But if you're starting off and you're like, hey, I really don't have the budget, but I know I need it, then we kind of work with you to, get you on a path to where you're going to be compliant and organized as soon as possible. So they vary.
So when is the deadline for these people to file their business taxes? Like, isn't it coming
It
up?
depends. Yeah, well, for partnerships and S corps, that has already passed. So if you did not get an extension, then you may be in a little trouble. But the partnerships and S corp has already gone. So everybody else, single member LLCs, will be the same time as individuals, which is April. I think it's the 18th this year because it's a holiday.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah. So I
So
need for everybody to get organized, like we're saying, and really take your business serious. Put on those big girl panties. That's what you said, right? Big girl
yeah.
panties. Go
Your
ahead
big
and put
girl
them on.
life. And
Yes.
I think it's one of, and TK, how like, is if they want to book a consultation with you and just sit down and see if it's a good fit, like, is there a link, or how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, they can go to my Facebook page, TK Barlow, or they can go to my website, www.tkbarlow.com.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, y'all. We gave y'all this all y'all gonna get, because y'all got 30 minutes of gems. So reach out to TK and let her assist you. Like, that's the only way we're going to learn. Like, we all need to learn. And I always say, scared money don't make no money. So if
Right.
your business is doing, well, and you bring in income, do not just like, and TK, I want to ask you, what is your thoughts as a, you doing business taxes and you're a bookkeeper? What's your whole thought of these merchant systems that people using, like Cash App, Venmo? I hear so many. Like, what are your thoughts as a bookkeeper? Should they not be using these things?
I mean, if you are, first of all, don't commingle. That means having your personal with your business all in one account. So if you're doing legitimate business, then yeah, go ahead and make a separate business cash app and like any kind of accounts you're using, make it separate. Take it totally away from your personal, and then you're gonna be fine. I think that's the biggest thing. Like I don't under I see it both ways, but if you're running your business and you're organized and being compliant, you're not gonna have it's not gonna be a big deal to you. What because they're gonna really crack down on the year on this coming year. But what you want to do is just make sure that all of your business is business and all of your personal is personal. And then you're not gonna have any kind of big issue. But yeah, guys, you may want to like rethink how you're receiving your payments and receiving your income. But again, just go ahead and separate it. Just have your business stuff legitimate, and then keep all that personal stuff out, so they're not able to say anything was really business when it was personal.
So can they, TK, when is a good time if you got like entrepreneurs that did really, really well and they got the 45K, when should they apply for the S Corp? Is it like a certain
You
time of the
Yeah,
year?
it kind of is and it kind of isn't. So with the S corp, you can file. The deadline was actually on the 15th of this month. For you to actually be elected to choose to have the S corp election, that was on 3/15. However, you still can file. It's just going to be a late election, and it's fine. You just have to put a reason why that you're filing late. So you just add that to it, and then you send it right over to the IRS, and it should be, you still should be fine.
So TK, do you do? I know you do. You do small business owners. Do you do S corporate? You do everybody as
Yes,
far as like business
yes.
taxes?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Small LLCs, S corps, partnerships. I do everything but C corps. C corps is a little bit out of my scope, but I do process partnerships, S corps, single member LLCs. Yes,
Okay.
as well as the bookkeeping too.
Okay. So y'all got it. TK says she got y'all. Y'all got to be ready though. You got to be ready. She said y'all
Yes,
can book a consultation. Don't be afraid because these are things we in March already. Y'all know last year went by really fast. We're gonna be in December before you know it.
yes.
Fonda said, are your prices on your website?
They're not on my website because the prices vary depending on what entrepreneurs need. They have different needs and different goals. So I don't have my prices on my website now. But she can always call me, text me, and as well as book a consultation. We can definitely talk about pricing.
So y'all know what you can do. Like Kiara's on. Hi, Kiara. How are you today,
Hey,
girl?
Kiara.
She said, do you teach business taxes?
Not yet. You know, a lot of people are asking about the courses. And so I am coming this summer. We are going to have a course about how to pay yourself as an entrepreneur and as well as business budgeting. So the courses are coming, and I will have a follow up course with business taxes, but that's going to be later in the year.
So how much is the course gonna be? Like,
How much
so
do
we
you
can
think,
start.
Misha? You gonna
I
coach
don't
me?
I look, I think listen, that's definitely that's definitely two courses that I know for me
Mhm.
that I need to take. But I
Yes,
think that like, you know, I think knowledge is I'm a firm believer knowledge is power. Like, and I
right,
tell people like, y'all, she's telling you that these courses are coming this summer. So, you know, if you got extra money, you know, because that's an expense you can write off, right? At the end of the
yes.
year. So you taking it.
Mhm.
So y'all start putting away $100, you know, $200, put it away. So when she released the course, you guys will know, okay,
Right,
now I have the money saved to do this because it's knowledge, y'all. It's not
right.
about a free course. So no, don't not go asking somebody, is it free? Because your product is not free. Y'all know I'm a firm believer of that. So don't you so Kiara said yes, we need to learn. So many of us learn individual and schedule C taxes. She said, but I want to learn more.
Yes,
So
absolutely. So the first how I'm going to do the courses is the first one that is going to be released is actually going to be a live workshop. And then I'm going to take the live workshop and turn that into a course. It's going to be recorded. So just look out for the links on my Facebook, and then you will definitely be notified of when that live course is actually going to happen, because I want to give as much knowledge as I can. And the best way to do that is with doing it live, because you can ask questions and get your questions answered. And most of the time, the questions that the people ask that are, that you're asking on the live recording, other people don't know that you're doing it live, and they may have those same type of questions. So I definitely want to do it live so that we can interact and get a little bit more in depth with the information.
So y'all, you see, now y'all can learn even more. So I do recommend these tax preparers, like take these courses so that you can give different people knowledge of what you know, so they don't look at these things and like, well, why didn't you tell me? Or nobody knew this, or I shouldn't be paying myself. I know now that I know a couple of people that are paying themselves and they just have single member LLCs, TK, and I'm definitely going to tell them like, stop,
Yeah,
stop.
double taxing themselves.
Because I was getting ready to do it to myself for one of my business. I'm
Mhm.
not even gonna sit on here and tell a lie. I was getting ready. I had so many people tell me like, you should be paying yourself, and a couple of payroll companies have reached out to me, and it was foreign language to me. So if it's something
Yeah,
foreign, I
that's
didn't
the
go
thing.
with. And then the fees were too expensive for
Right,
like to me. I'm like, I'm only paying myself. And the guy was like, well, you could pay yourself $60. I'm like, well, wouldn't that be like more income for my personal? Like, because I'm W-2, right? So I still would be. So I was like, and he was telling me about the fees and the processing fees for them
right.
to payroll. So I think that this was very informative so people know that, because I think a
Yeah.
lot of people I talk to, they'd be like, well, I've been paying myself for the last year. And I'm like, who told you to do that? And they like, well, somebody said I should be paying myself. And I think we just didn't know that.
Right. You can pay yourself, but just don't pay yourself through a payroll system. So it's okay to, because what you're doing is you're not paying yourself with you can pay yourself with a check, but you're not paying yourself through payroll. So you can actually, if you're saying, okay, I want to send myself $50 for this week, then send yourself $50 and make sure you're recording it in your bookkeeping. So that's what you want to do as well. So you're totally fine to take whatever you want, because ideally all of the income that you're making is yours because you are a sole proprietor LLC. But the thing is, if you take that payroll, and the thing that bothers me is that ADP, I know ADP, they don't tell you anything. They're like, okay. But then when you're taking that money, when you're taking payroll, through the system, so you're paying taxes on what you want to pay yourself. You're paying taxes, not taxes, but you're paying for the payroll system itself. Then you're paying taxes as a sole proprietor, as the employer. You're paying those taxes as well. So you're getting taxed twice. Yeah, don't nobody want to do that. And you're paying the payroll services. Now, if you have other employees, then that's fine because you're going to pay the payroll service anyway, but you still don't want to be double taxed. Like, that doesn't make sense. And they don't really tell you that. They're just like, okay, yeah, you're going to pay yourself, pay yourself. But so don't do it that way. If you're saying, okay, I'm going to take a salary, you just don't use the word salary. It's called a distribution. And so you just take whatever it is that you need and you make sure you record it in your bookkeeping system so that at the end of the year, the income that you have pulled from your business, it will not go on your Schedule C. Like, it's not going to be a part of your expenses, because for you, it's just your personal distribution. So you would take it, and then that would go there, and then nothing is on your Schedule C as far as like your income.
So Takesha asks, would you be recording it as a contract work when you pay yourself?
No, not when you pay yourself. It's going to be a distribution. It's equity. It's money that is just for you. You're not because you don't work for your business. You're not an employee. If you are a sole proprietor or an LLC, then you're not an employee of your company. Now, if you choose to separate yourself from your company and do an S corp, then that changes. Then you have to get on payroll if you switch over to an S corp. But just as a sole proprietor, single member LLC, no, you're just taking distributions for yourself, and that's it.
Mm. See, y'all, we definitely got some gems. So Takesha, Kiara, Fonda, myself, everybody else said I didn't see jump on here and watch. Y'all be looking out for that course because we need to learn more about paying ourselves because clearly. So Takesha asks, when can you switch over?
When can you switch over to an escort?
Are you asking Takesha when can you switch over to an escort? What's the question of when can you switch over? But y'all, we gotta take this class. We need to be over it. She said yes.
Yeah. So you want to, after you have at least $45,000 in profit. So, meaning after you have paid all your expenses, all of your deductions, and you have 45,000 left over, then that is the time for you to consider whether or not you need to be an escort. But at the same time, you still need to do the calculations to make sure that's going to be ideal for you, okay? Because it's additional expenses that comes with taking the S corp election. And then you also have to have payroll, like I mentioned, and you have to have a bookkeeping system in place. And so those are additional expenses there. And then when you have your S corp taxes prepared, S corp taxes are a little bit more expensive than an LLC or single member taxes. So the tax prep. So you want to be sure that you also take those expenses into consideration. So right around 40,000, yeah, you can start looking into it then and making sure that it's going to really work for you.
Fonda said, yes, I want this class. She said, when you set it up, lady, I am ready.
Yes, which one?
No. Okay, so Fonda, she said, which way? I want both. I need both.
Okay.
I need both. I need to know.
Yeah.
I need to know because you get so many mixed. This was very informative for us. You know, it we need this because it's a lot of mixed communication that we
Yeah.
get. That comes from, I can honestly say a lot of the times we don't read, we don't look into it because that's what's causing us to be, we get all of these people telling us Fonda said business taxes.
Okay.
So it's a lot of things that we don't know in this information. I know myself as a consultant, a lot of people be asking me tax question. I'd be like, that's outside of my scope. I get a lot of like people that are into truck driving and those type of people, and I don't know, and they have businesses that are attached and they be asking me questions. I'd be like, y'all, I don't know. Like I told a lot of them, you catch this live, you watch the replay, you share it. But I tell them like I don't know, and I try to give them as much information. I try to guide them. I try to tell them
Yeah.
about, these are the different things, and you gave us a lot, and I really, 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 really
I hope
appreciate it.
so. I hope it was helpful, guys. So
It
yeah, and if you
was.
need assistance, just let me know. I would love to support. But meanwhile, like I do urge everyone to, if you don't have a bookkeeping system, get you one. There are free ones that you could look up. I think Wave is actually free. But if you need help, because it's one thing to have bookkeeping and then you're able to say, okay, yes, I have it. I'm able to, produce my financial statements. But then the question then is, do you know what you're looking at? Like, do you know how to interpret it? Like, what is it saying about your business? Because we really need to be running your cash flow statement monthly. Let me see, I have it here so I don't get confused. You want to be sure that you're running your balance sheet, your income statement, and your cash flow statement. Because we hear a lot about, the profit and loss, but the profit and loss statement is only so good because you need to know your cash flow statement. Okay. So keep that in mind too. If you want to look it up, or if you need some help understanding it, you can definitely contact me and I'll walk you through your statements. But you need to understand what that cash flow statement is saying about your business. Because it's one thing for us to say, okay, yeah, I got my statements, but do you know what they mean? Like, what is it saying about the story of your business? So definitely stay on top of those three statements. You at least want to run them monthly, definitely quarterly.
Well, y'all got it. We didn't. She didn't gave y'all the tea for the night, and y'all better reach out. She told you. She gave you some different softwares that you can use to start tracking it. She gave you about everybody asked about S corps and wanting to start it. She gave y'all the gems. This now the only thing to do is reach out, book a consultation. Don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself. So treat that business right and you'll go a long way. If we do right, I used to be one that do stuff and it won't right, but this go around, I'm doing everything right. TK, I really appreciate you
Yeah,
tonight.
absolutely.
Before we close out, tell them how they can reach you again.
You can reach me at www.tkbarlow.com, or you can go to my Facebook page. Under my profile, you'll see my schedule. You'll see all my information there. So yeah.
Well, y'all, we have concluded FM Consultants show for tonight. Replay, share with your friends, share with your family, go follow TK and get this bookkeeping started. Get ready for next year's taxes. If you know you ain't do
Yes.
something right this year, let's get it changed for next year. Y'all have a
Mhm.
good night. Thank you, TK, again.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate
Thank you
it.
for having me.
No problem.